Story 1. The man who quit everything. I witnessed a stranger retire from his entire career with a single phone call in a dentist's waiting room, and what he said haunted me for weeks. It was 3 in the afternoon last Tuesday. I sat in the dentist's waiting room, trying to ignore that sickeningly sweet citrus hand sanitizer that always makes my stomach turn. An older gentleman, mid-60s, settled 2 chairs away. He absently fidgeted with one of those tiny paper cups, wearing the expression of someone profoundly exhausted by existence itself. His phone erupted of those embarrassingly loud ringtones only older people seem to have. He answered without greeting. "I told you I'm retiring. I don't care if the board thinks I'm bluffing." The receptionist had disappeared, leaving only silence to amplify his conversation. I pretended not to listen, but every word landed with crystalline clarity. The person on the other end must have protested because he released a dry, humorless laugh. "Buddy, they're still running software I wrote in 1992. You think they're firing me? They're terrified I'll actually leave." Then his voice dropped, waited, with something raw and honest. "I'm tired. I don't want to die in that building." The paper cup slipped from his fingers, bouncing soundlessly on the floor. Empty. He stared at it like it represented something larger. Neither of us moved to retrieve it. "Tell them I'm done," he said into the phone, "and tell them I'm keeping the mug." He ended the call and suddenly seemed to remember I existed. Our eyes met. I don't know what possessed me, but I asked if he worked in technology. He shook his head with almost violent speed. "I built the logistics backbone for a grocery chain you've shopped at every week of your entire life." His tone carried the weight of a confession. People think the important stuff is code. It's not. It's screaming at someone in accounting because they mislabeled peaches as nectarines and 300 stores panic ordered the wrong pallets. I laughed. He snorted, then rubbed his eyes with the weariness of decades. The hygienist finally called my name. As I stood, he spoke without looking at me. "If you ever find something you're great at, don't tell anyone. They'll chain you to it." I nodded like an idiot and followed the hygienist. 30 minutes later, he was gone. The paper cup remained on the floor. The receptionist stepped over it while refilling the coffee machine. I thought about picking it up. I didn't. I still don't know why. Story to the boyfriend who scammed everyone. My ex-wife's best friend thought she'd finally found love, until police showed up at her door and revealed her boyfriend was running cons on multiple women simultaneously. My ex-wife had a close friend, let's call her Hannah. Hannah's dating history was, to put it kindly, catastrophic. She's a wonderful person, intelligent, warm, from a great family. But her romantic luck was absolutely cursed. When I first met her, she was single. Shortly after, she began dating someone from their friend circle, a guy named Chris that my then-wife had known for years. Their relationship surprised everyone because we'd all assumed Chris was gay. 1 month before their wedding, Chris ended things and came out. He genuinely loved Hannah but couldn't live the lie anymore. He'd been secretly seeing men. Hannah was heartbroken but understanding. After that, she dated some real characters, including a stereotypical redneck with 2 brain cells and teeth that could gnaw through a chain link fence. Then she met Chris. Different Chris, new Chris. He seemed pleasant when we first met. We socialized with them several times over the following months. Chris moved in quickly, suspiciously quickly, we thought. 2 months later, we hosted a massive party. Hannah and Chris attended. During the evening, one of my closest friends pulled me aside. What's his story? He asked about Chris, explaining he was getting intensely fake vibes. I admitted I barely knew him. The party ended. Chris and Hannah spent the night in our spare room. A week later, my then-wife mentioned that Hannah had leased Chris a car, bought him a new PlayStation and purchased expensive jewelry. I commented that she was really spoiling him, especially given that Hannah had a good job, but not extravagant income. Chris claimed he worked in insurance and traveled for business. 1 week after that, I was at an auto shop when my phone rang. My wife's voice vibrated with urgency. "Do you have a newspaper nearby?" I spotted one on the waiting room table. Flipped to page 7. Halfway down, when I found the article and scanned the headline, my blood ran cold. Oh my God! Are you serious? Hannah had called to warn her about the newspaper story and to explain what had happened the previous evening. Hannah had been home when police knocked. 2 officers asked if Chris lived there. She confirmed he was gaming in the living room and offered to get him. When Chris appeared at the door, his face went pale. The officers immediately arrested him for fraud. Hannah demanded answers. While one officer secured Chris in the patrol car, the other explained everything. Chris was a con artist. His business trips to nearby cities weren't for insurance work. He didn't even work for any insurance company. He worked part-time at a local Burger King. His trips were to maintain relationships with other friends and girlfriends he was simultaneously scamming. He manipulated them into buying him things, maxing out their credit cards, inventing emergencies that required money. Some elderly women sent him so much cash for his fabricated crises that they nearly froze to death because they couldn't afford heating oil. Someone finally figured it out, contacted other victims in a neighboring state, and they collectively pressed charges. Once exposed, everyone he'd scammed joined the lawsuit, including Hannah, who discovered he'd opened multiple credit cards in her name using stolen personal information. We were absolutely floored. This person had been in our home. We trusted him, but my friend's instinct about those bad vibes had been absolutely correct. Chris was found guilty and sentenced to jail. Justice finally was served. Story 3: The fiancé who blamed the victim. A stranger assaulted me at a club, and when I called my fiancé crying for help, his first question wasn't "Are you okay?" It was "What were you wearing?" Last Saturday, I went out with 3 friends for a birthday celebration. Girls' night. My fiancé knew about it, said have fun, completely normal. I wore a black dress and watched short, low cut. I felt confident and beautiful. We arrived at the club around 10. Dancing, drinking, typical night out. Around midnight, I went to the bar alone to order another round. A man approached, mid-30s, already intoxicated. He started talking. I was polite but brief, clearly signaling disinterest. He kept invading my space. His hand landed on my waist. I stepped back and told him I had a fiancé. He laughed, saying he didn't see a ring. I told him to leave me alone. That's when he grabbed my wrist. Hard. He yanked my hand and forcibly pressed it against his crotch. I jerked away and shoved him. He stumbled, then got in my face, calling me a tease, saying I dressed like that for attention and was now acting too good for him. Security witnessed everything and intervened. They ejected him and asked if I was okay. I said yes, but wanted to leave immediately. I found my friends, explained what happened, and called my fiancé to pick me up early. When I told him what occurred, there was a pause. Then he asked what I was wearing. I said my black dress. He clarified, the short one. Yeah. Another pause. Then, were you dancing with other guys? I explained we were dancing as a group. Guys were around, but I wasn't dancing with anyone. He asked why I was at the bar alone. I said I was getting drinks. He said I should have brought a friend. Annoyance flared. I asked if he was coming to get me. He said yeah, but we need to talk when you get home. The drive was silent. Inside, he said we needed to discuss boundaries. I asked what he meant. He said going to clubs while engaged isn't appropriate, that I should have known better. I reminded him he'd approved this night out. He claimed he didn't know I'd be dressing like that and putting myself in situations where men would approach me. I lost it. A man assaulted me and he was blaming my dress. He insisted he wasn't blaming me, but I needed to understand that when I dress a certain way and go to certain places, men will assume things, that I was being naive. I asked what I was supposed to do, stay home. He said no, but maybe I shouldn't go to clubs anymore now that we're engaged. That it sends the wrong message. To who? I demanded. To everyone, including me. I said he was being ridiculous. He accused me of being defensive because I knew I'd crossed a line. What line? Going out with friends, wearing a dress, existing in public. He claimed I was twisting his words, that he was trying to protect me and I was making him the villain. I said he was the villain for acting like I'd done something wrong when I was the one who got grabbed. He went quiet, then suggested maybe I'd been flirting without realizing it. That sometimes I'm too friendly and men misinterpret it. I stared at him, speechless. He said he was just being honest, that I needed to be more aware of how I come across. I told him to sleep on the couch. The next morning, he acted like nothing happened. Asked what I wanted for breakfast. I said we weren't done talking. He sighed, claiming he'd already apologized. He hadn't. He said fine. He was sorry I got upset, but I needed to see his side too. I said his side was that I deserved to be assaulted because of my outfit. He got frustrated, insisting that's not what he meant, that I was exaggerating. Then what did he mean? He said going forward, I should be more careful about where I go and what I wear if I don't want that kind of attention. I told him that was exactly the same as blaming me. He said I was being impossible, that he was trying to have a reasonable conversation about safety and I was making it about control. I packed a bag and went to my sister's. His texts cycled between angry accusations of overreaction, apologetic declarations of love, and defensive insistence that his concerns were valid. My friends are divided. To see red flags, one thinks he was scared and expressed it badly. My sister says any man who blames what you wear for someone else's actions isn't worth marrying. His mother called, saying he's devastated, that I'm punishing him for caring and should come home and apologize for making him sleep on the couch. Some family thinks I'm overreacting. He said it badly, but he was worried and I'm throwing away a relationship over one fight. But I keep replaying it. He asked what I was wearing before he asked if I was okay. He said I should have known better. He wants an apology from me. Am I being too sensitive? Should I have accepted his concern and let it go? Story for the sister who poisoned my pregnancy. My sister poisoned my food while I was 5 months pregnant out of jealousy, and when I pressed charges, my entire family called me the villain. I'm 5 months pregnant with my first child. My older sister has been trying to conceive for 3 years. I've been incredibly sensitive, never mentioning my pregnancy unless she asked. Avoiding social media posts, even offering to skip family events if it was too painful for her. She insisted I didn't need to walk on eggshells. Last month, my parents hosted a birthday dinner for my dad. My sister volunteered to help cook unusual since she typically avoids kitchen duty. I thought nothing of it. Dinner was lasagna, salad, garlic bread, standard family meal. 20 minutes after eating, I felt wrong. Intense stomach cramping, dizziness, sweating, racing heart. I told my husband something was seriously wrong. He wanted to take me to the hospital, but my sister dismissed it. Oh, you're probably just having indigestion. Pregnancy does that. My mom agreed, suggesting I lie down. It got worse. I started vomiting violently. My husband insisted on the emergency room. At the hospital, tests revealed elevated levels of something dangerous in my system. The doctor asked if I'd taken any unauthorized medications or supplements. No. Had anyone given me something without my knowledge? That's when it clicked. My sister had been alone in the kitchen before dinner. The next day, I searched her bathroom. Among her fertility supplements, I found an herbal blend with a label explicitly stating, "Not safe during pregnancy." I confronted her via text. "Did you put something in my food?" Hours of silence. Then, "I don't know what you're talking about. I found the herbs in your bathroom, the ones not safe for pregnancy." Did you give those to me?" She called crying. She claimed she didn't think it would actually hurt me, she just wanted to teach me a lesson about being more sensitive. That I'd been flaunting my pregnancy, I specifically hadn't been, and she just wanted me to feel a little sick, so I'd understand what she goes through every month. I was furious. What she did was illegal and dangerous. I could have lost my baby. She dismissed it as just herbs, not real drugs. Then she sent texts that made my blood run cold. "You always get everything first. Engaged first. House first. Now a baby when you know how much I've been trying. Maybe if you lost this one, you'd stop being so smug." I screenshotted everything. My parents called that night. My sister had told them we'd fought and that I'd insanely accused her of poisoning me. They said pregnancy hormones were making me irrational. I sent them the screenshots. My dad, "She didn't mean that. She's just upset and venting." My mom, "You know how hard this has been for her. Maybe this is a way of acting out because she's hurting." I said, "She put something in my food that hospitalized me. That's not acting out. That's assault." They claimed I was being dramatic. That siblings fight. That I should forgive her because family is family. I filed a police report. Provided the texts, hospital records and the herb bottle. My sister admitted to putting the herbs in my food but claimed ignorance about the danger. She's being charged with something serious. Now my entire family is furious with me. My parents say I'm destroying my sister's life over a stupid mistake, that she could go to jail, that I'm being vindictive. My sister's husband begged me to drop the charges, saying his wife is having a mental breakdown and this will ruin her career. My aunt says I'm selfish and cruel, that my sister needs therapy, not jail. But she literally poisoned me while I was pregnant. The doctor said I'm lucky nothing happened to the baby. What if I'd lost the pregnancy? What if there was permanent damage? My husband supports me, but even his parents suggest I should have just cut contact instead of involving police. My parents aren't speaking to me. They told me not to attend family events until I fix this. Was I wrong to press charges? Should I have handled this privately? Story 5. The toy thief girlfriend. My brother's girlfriend tried to walk out of my house with bags full of my 9-year-old daughter's belongings, and when I stopped her, she claimed they were promised to her kids. My brother has been dating this woman for 8 months. She has 7-year-old twin girls. My daughter is 9. Last Sunday, they all came over for family dinner. First time the girlfriend and her kids were meeting most of our extended family. Everything seemed pleasant. The girls played together upstairs while we ate. My daughter showed them her room, her toys, normal kid interactions. Around 8, people started leaving. My brother and his girlfriend were preparing to go when I heard her call up to her daughters. They descended the stairs, each carrying bulging shopping bags. I asked what they had. One twin said, "Our new toys." I looked at my brother. He appeared confused. His girlfriend jumped in, claiming the girls were just taking things my daughter said they could have. I called my daughter down and asked if that was true. She looked at the bags and her face crumbled. She said no, they'd just been playing. I asked the twins to show me the contents. The girlfriend's smile tightened. She said it was fine, we didn't need to make a big deal. I insisted on seeing. She sighed like I was being unreasonable and had her daughters open the bags. Easily $300 worth of items. New dolls my daughter received for her birthday 2 months ago. Art supplies, books, a jewelry box her grandmother had given her. Even some of her nice clothes. I looked at the girlfriend. These aren't yours to take. She claimed my daughter told her girls they could have whatever they wanted. My daughter started crying, insisting she'd said no such thing. They just asked to see everything and she was showing them. The girlfriend's demeanor shifted. She got defensive, saying her girls don't lie. That my daughter clearly offered and was now backing out because she didn't want to share. I said my daughter is 9. Even if she had said that, which she didn't, she can't just give away her belongings. The girlfriend insisted her daughters were promised these things. By who? I demanded. By your daughter. We already established that's not true, I said. So either her daughters misunderstood or they're lying. She exploded, started yelling that I was calling her children liars, that they came from a difficult background and I was being cruel. I said I don't care what their background is, they're not leaving with my daughter's stuff. She turned to my brother. Are you going to let her talk to me like this? My brother looked uncomfortable. He asked his girlfriend if maybe there was a misunderstanding. She insisted there wasn't, that my daughter had shown them all these nice things, and when her girls asked if they could have some, my daughter said yes. I asked the twins directly. They glanced at their mother, then nodded. I told them to return everything. The girlfriend stepped in front of them, declaring they weren't returning anything, that I was embarrassing her in front of my family. I said she was embarrassing herself by trying to steal from a child. My dad intervened. He told the girlfriend this wasn't appropriate and she needed to have the girls return the items. She said fine, but we were all being horrible to her and her daughters, and my daughter had led them on by showing off things she had no intention of sharing. The girls reluctantly started emptying the bags. The girlfriend was silent, her face bright red. When everything was out, she grabbed her daughter's hands and stormed out. My brother stood there momentarily, then followed her. He called the next day. His girlfriend was really upset it humiliated her in front of everyone. I said she humiliated herself by trying to let her kids steal. He insisted it wasn't stealing, it was a misunderstanding, and I could have handled it privately instead of making a scene. I told him I did try to handle it. She escalated. He said his girlfriend feels attacked and unwelcome in our family now. I said good, because she's not welcome if she's going to teach her kids to take other kids' things. Now my brother is barely speaking to me. His girlfriend has been posting vague social media messages about toxic family members and how hard it is to blend families when people are judgmental. My mom called, suggesting maybe I was too harsh, that the girlfriend is probably stressed and I should have been more understanding. My dad completely backs me up, says what she did was way out of line and my brother needs to recognize that. My siblings are divided. Some think I overreacted and should have let the kids take a few toys to keep the peace. Others say the girlfriend knew exactly what she was doing and was testing boundaries. My daughter is upset because she liked playing with the twins and now feels like she did something wrong. I've tried explaining she didn't, but she keeps asking if she wasn't clear enough. My brother texted yesterday saying his girlfriend wants an apology before she'll attend any more family events. I haven't responded. Was I too harsh? Should I have let them take a couple things to avoid the drama? Story 6. The father who demanded forgiveness. My absent father demanded to walk me down the aisle after making my childhood hell. But then I discovered the devastating truth about why he really left. And now I don't know who to believe. I'm getting married in 2 months, and this situation has spiraled completely out of control. My dad left when I was 9. He cheated on my mom with a coworker, and the divorce was absolutely brutal. He fought for custody just to hurt my mom, not because he actually wanted me. During my court-mandated every other weekend visits, he'd either ignore me to be with his girlfriend or yell at me for absurd infractions, like leaving a cup on the counter or talking too loud. My mom raised me alone while working 2 jobs. My dad paid minimum child support and complained about it constantly. He missed every birthday, every school event, every milestone. At my high school graduation, he showed up late and left early. When I got into college, he said that's nice and changed the subject. I got engaged last year. My mom has been helping me plan everything. My dad discovered it through social media and called out of nowhere, acting like we had this wonderful relationship. I assume I'll be walking you down the aisle, he said, like it was predetermined. I said I hadn't decided yet. He went quiet, then said, well, it's tradition and I'm your father. so we can discuss details later. I talked to my mom. She said it was my choice, but I could see it wounded her. She's been there for everything. My dad has barely been a parent. 2 weeks ago, my dad texted asking what color tie he should wear to match the wedding party since he'd be walking me down. I replied, "Actually, I've decided I want Mom to walk me down the aisle." He called immediately, furious. I was being disrespectful. It wasn't appropriate for a mother to do that. People would think it was weird. I was trying to embarrass him in front of the family. I said, "You weren't there for me growing up, so why should you be there for this?" He went off about how he did his best, how the divorce was hard on him too, how I was holding grudges over childhood events. I said, "You chose not to be involved in my life, and that has consequences." He threatened to boycott the wedding and make sure everyone knew why. I said, "Fine, then don't come." Then I added, "Actually, you know what? I'd rather have a random stranger walk me down the aisle than you. At least they'd have an excuse for not knowing me." He hung up. Then his sister called, saying I was being cruel, that he's trying now and that should count for something. That family is family, and I'd regret pushing him away. But here's where everything shattered. I was venting to my mom about all this, and she got really quiet. Then she admitted something I didn't know. My dad didn't actually cheat first. She did. She had an affair with a coworker, and my dad found out. She said she was unhappy and made a mistake, but my dad retaliated by having his own affair and then left her anyway. She never told me because she didn't want me to hate her. I felt like the ground disappeared beneath me. Everything I believed about my childhood was based on my mom being the victim and my dad being the villain. And yeah, he was still a terrible father regardless of who cheated first, but now I don't know how to feel about any of it. I told my mom I needed time to process. She started crying, saying she was sorry she lied but was protecting me. My dad has been texting, "Ask your mother who really destroyed our marriage." He clearly knows I found out. Now my aunt is saying I owe my dad an apology and a chance to walk me down the aisle. Since the truth is out, my fiancé says it doesn't matter who cheated first. My dad was still absent my entire life, and that's what matters. But I feel manipulated by my mom this entire time. Maybe I was too harsh on my dad. My mom is devastated that I'm pulling away. My dad is acting like this vindicates him, even though he was still a horrible father. The wedding is in 2 months. Half my family says I need to forgive my dad and let him walk me. The other half says my mom earned it regardless of her past mistakes. I'm considering just walking myself down the aisle because I'm so angry at both of them. But my mom says that would break her heart after everything she's done for me. Did I go too far with what I said to my dad? Should I have known there was more to the story? Story 7. The apartment intruder. I discovered someone was living in my apartment while I was at work. And when I finally caught them on camera, the truth was more terrifying than I ever imagined. For months, I brushed off the unsettling signs as paranoia. A damp sponge I never used. Wet shower floors when I only bathed at night. My cereal box mysteriously repositioned. The toilet seat inexplicably left up despite living completely alone. These weren't dramatic changes, they were whispers of something wrong, easy to dismiss until they weren't. The turning point came when I arrived home early with a splitting migraine. Walking into my bedroom, I froze. My closet door stood wide open, something I obsessively checked before leaving. I have this compulsive habit of double-checking it every single morning. Terror gripped me as I searched every corner, every shadow. Nothing. But the feeling of violation wouldn't leave. That's when I made a decision that would change everything. I purchased a discreet motion-activated camera and concealed it inside a decorative plant atop my refrigerator, strategically positioned to capture anyone entering or exiting. The next afternoon at work, my phone vibrated, motion detected. My hands trembled as I locked myself in a bathroom stall and opened the footage. At first, nothing unusual. Then a shadow shifted in the hallway. A man emerged from the frame's edge. Hoodie pulled up, moving with the casual confidence of someone who belonged there. He walked directly to my refrigerator, opened it, grabbed my orange juice, sniffed it with visible disgust and returned it. Then he rummaged through my cutlery drawer, examined a fork with bizarre scrutiny, and deliberately placed it in a different compartment. He wasn't stealing. He wasn't rushing. He wasn't nervous. He was comfortable, disturbingly, intimately comfortable. The worst part? He walked toward my bedroom and never emerged on camera. The angle only covered the kitchen area. I fled work immediately, calling my best friend with shaking hands. When I burst through my apartment door, everything appeared undisturbed, perfectly normal, except the fork drawer. That single detail confirmed my nightmare was real. My landlord watched the video 3 times, his face draining of color. "I know who that is," he whispered. He refused to elaborate, only muttering that it was being handled. I demanded new locks immediately. He complied within the hour, which told me he'd known something was wrong all along. That night at 11, footsteps echoed above my bedroom ceiling. There is no apartment above mine, only a locked storage attic accessible exclusively to the landlord. When I confronted him again, he insisted I'd imagined it and stonewalled every question. I installed 2 more cameras. Since the lock changed, the incidents stopped. But sometimes I return home and swear I detect the lingering scent of unfamiliar cologne in my hallway. What terrifies me more, that someone was secretly living in my home, or that my landlord knew about it the entire time?